Hey, what's up, everybody? Check out what just came in. The new Quack House Productions Dr. Quack t-shirt. You can get your own for $19.99. Just click on the link below or message me personally and we're going to get it made just for you. Here, you're ready for your dose of reality. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dr. Quack podcast. Restart that.
Podcast?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dr. Quack podcast. As you can see today, I have Mr. Will Geiger over here. I have the manager of champions, Eric Nelson, over here. And today, we were supposed to do a shoot interview, but things happen, kind of like in horror movies. So today's episode is a spooktacular Dr. Quack podcast. So I want to start off here. What was some of your guys' favorite horror films?
For me, it would be American Werewolf in London. One of my favorite ones for growing up. Probably the first really horror movie I actually saw and enjoyed.
What did you like about
It had a little bit of everything. I mean, it was kind of like this guy gets cursed and everything, but you have the undead guys kind of making fun of him, but no one else can see him. He thinks he's crazy, and then all of a sudden you find out, nope, he's real. He's a werewolf, and being cursed for the undead follow me around and tell me to kill myself. So and it kind of ended on a bummer too. The guy dies at the end of the movie, so kind of how I think some horror movies should kind of end, not a happy ending. So
okay. What about you?
I mean, I'm definitely your 80s slasher guy, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. Kind of a toss up between the two. Love Freddy, love Jason.
What made you love them?
Well, it was just, in the 80s, before, I guess when you have things like they are now with so much more technology and whatnot, they actually were sort of scary back then.
Yeah. I mean, I was a huge fan, especially when I was a younger kid. Nightmare on Elm Street, that was one of the biggest ones there. When I got older, though, it was wild. I mean, Hellraiser. I mean, that movie spoke to me more, that as an adult than it did as a child. Like, I was like, man, all the sadomasochism in there and everything like that. Some of the great, horror movies from even back in the days, if you're talking The Invisible Man. That was really a classic. They did a remake in 2020. A little bit different take on it. Instead of the poison, they went with the invisible suit, and that was more technology, which is a lot of what horror movies are based on today. So there you go. What was some of the bad horror movies? What was one of the worst ones you remember?
Can't remember the name of it, but they had a character in it called Hell Cop.
Hell Cop?
What was it? It was about a race. They had a race Hell Cop at the end. I think you know what I'm talking about, right?
I remember Maniac Cop.
Maniac Cop. And they made a trilogy on that.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's almost everywhere now. You can check
Yeah,
that
I
out.
remember the one that had the helicopter character in it, but it was so bad, like the devil was like, hey, if you give up now, I'll let you be quarterback for the Rams. And the guy puts the 49ers down. If you said the 49ers, I would have said yes. And there was a scene there where guy gets stabbed and he ends up inside of a jail, and the hand that's on the side of the jail flips everybody off. I mean, it was very campy. More dorky than a horror movie, I think. But it was really bad.
Yeah.
I remember Toxic Avengers.
Oh God.
I mean, that's
Toxie, you remember him? Yeah,
I mean, that's the
little
kid-
puny guy falls into the vat of like
His eyeballs, like,
nuclear
poking out,
waste,
he's
like,
green.
comes out all grotesque looking
Yeah.
and stuff, and I think they made 3 of those movies.
4 actually.
4, okay.
That's
4.
right. They did.
Trust me, I've seen them, and yeah, when you get past the 3rd, you're asking for it.
I mean, that's more campy than horror to me.
Yeah. The greatest superhero from New Jersey. You know, I mean, oh my goodness, yeah, that took back some memories. One of the weird ones I saw, and this was one I liked, but it was definitely odd, was Willard. It had Crispin Glover in it. He was actually at home with his mom and dad, and Arlie Ermey was his boss, so you can imagine how that went. But he was controlling mice, you know, and he was taking them, like, to take care of his enemies. Like, he would actually have them chew into the house and kill people with them, and end up killing, of course, his boss. It was a real, you know, crazy one there. But one of the bad ones I really saw was Evil Bong. Evil Bong had a guest appearance by Tommy Chong. I was telling you about this.
Evil Bong?
Evil Bong. It was about this possessed bong that was, it was low budget, you know,
Oh,
and they
wow.
were all smoking it, and it was killing them. Like the weed that they were having in the possessed bong. Yes, it was one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen.
Sure,
But
this wasn't a government PSA.
it might as well have been. I mean,
Weed is bad for you.
oh my God.
The gateway drug to hell.
Now here you go. What was the downright ugly? Like one you couldn't sit through and you were just like, this is horrible.
Let's see. Oh
You
man.
got one?
I can't think of one that I haven't sat through.
I got one for you, and it's recent. I sat and tried to watch this. I was watching it on Shudder. I was actually talking in this fan group on Facebook about it. Spiral. I'm sorry. To me, it was not a great movie. It was like I sat literally 40 minutes in. You know, I'm expecting something to happen, and all I see is banter between the parents and the child for about 40 minutes. I mean, maybe I need to continue on and find something, but if you can't get a kill in there in 40 minutes, that's something that annoys me. I love to see in a horror movie where you've got a good story and you've got a, you know, at least a couple kills there within the first 20 minutes. I mean, we're not making Rambo 3. Come on.
I mean, you got a good point there.
You know. And another wild one that was truly B-flick, you know, I watched, it was called The Baby. The Baby is 1977, so don't think I'm just picking on new school horror, because trust me, there's some old school that's pretty crappy too. You know, The Baby was basically about this guy that was a 23-year-old child that was watched by his mom and sister and the, well, what do they call them? Social worker.
Yeah.
Sorry, big word there today. You know, social worker, you know, came over and tried to fix him. But in the end, the social worker ended up taking him home with her and introducing to another 20-something-year-old baby. So she had 2 of them. It was pretty weird.
Yeah, that sounds really weird.
Yeah, I mean, you find a lot of this. I mean, it's not like the 80s where you had to go to the video store, you know, and you had to go find, you know, movies. Now you can go online. You can go to Tubi, Shudder, Hulu, Netflix, Roku, whatever else other 4-letter words are out there, which I'm sure there are. You know, so, you know, I'm curious, today's horror movies, have you found any you liked?
Well, with today's more horror movies, it's more like they focus on the jumpy outiness.
Yeah, a lot of jump scares, just for the sake of just getting a cheap thrill.
Right.
And I don't know, I guess one of my favorite movies, I guess horror movies, today's movies, would be like either The Grudge or The Ring.
Yeah.
It didn't really have a whole lot of gore. There was a couple of jump scares in it, but there's also kind of a backstory to it a little bit too, and it was kind of it's kind of creepy, good. You know, it was actually full of anticipation, stuff like that, suspense.
Yeah, and I think you can on the head right there with that is today's horror seems a lot more psychological thriller, suspense, more so than horror.
Right, don't see a lot of gore.
I mean, look at Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was more suspense, more of a psychological thriller than an actual horror movie. I mean, yeah, part where, she's getting all, creepy looking and then the guy gets thrown at the camera and all that. I mean, that was an oh my God moment. That was the unexpected, if you will. But, I mean, that's just a fine line today. It's like, it's almost like people running out of stuff to write about.
Yeah, I mean, between that and they're always making remakes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have Nightmare on Elm Street remake, Friday 13th remake. How many times has Halloween been remade? Yeah. I mean, just...
more than I care to count.
And they just remake it just to, I guess they're trying to make the classics better with sex, pop culture, and more gore, but a lot of times the classic movies don't need to be remade. I mean, I'd say you can add to the story, but don't, how many times do we have to see the, like Nightmare on Elm Street, the introduction of Freddy, how many times do we have to see that?
I'll be honest, I didn't like the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
I didn't either.
And to me, it's like if you could watch it without thinking that Robert Englund is playing Freddy Krueger, it wasn't bad. Like, I understood, because they took it from child killer to pedophile.
Yeah.
And that brung up the fear factor and a little more intensity in the film. But, yeah, Jackie Earle Haley, which he was in Bad News Bears. Remember that little biker guy riding around his little, on the baseball field? Yeah, this is the guy playing Freddy Krueger. Come on, man. Not me.
Well, here's a little fun fact for y'all. Way back when Mark Hamill and Robert Englund were sitting together and they'd been auditioning for movies. And conversation kind of goes like this. Hey, what have you got? Oh, I'm looking at this horror movie. I don't know about horror movies. What about you? So if I'm looking at this kind of geeky, sci-fi flick, Mark Hamill's like, give me that. And then Robert's like, you know what? I'll take this horror movie and take a look at it. Nightmare on Elm Street, honey, flipping. So just imagine what the world would be like today if Robert Englund had been Luke Skywalker and Mark Hamill had been Freddy Krueger.
Well, I don't know. Mark Hamill was voice acting. Could probably pull off a pretty good makeup. Could probably pull off a pretty good.
Yeah, well, voice acting, but I mean,
And he also did Chucky, right?
Yeah, he did Chucky, but I don't know about Robert Englund being
Luke
Luke
Skywalker.
Skywalker. Yeah, but
I mean, he was the alien, the friendly alien in V, but still.
still, yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of takes away from it.
Yeah, it's weird how horror has actually changed from like even the 40s and 60s, the golden era, versus today. Just such a huge gap. I mean, the 80s was all about gore factor and nudity, violence, language.
70s was all about devil worship.
Yep, 70s. I mean, and there you go. Let's go into Stephen King here. What was your favorite Stephen King movie?
Oh, wow. Considering I love Stephen King, that's, wow. I mean, like Pet Sematary, heck, I mean, he wrote The Green Mile. No, that's not a horror, but it was a suspense.
Right, it was suspense.
I think the worst thing he ever did was Maximum Overdrive.
We were just talking about that.
It's good, but it's bad, but it's good, kind of the way.
Yeah, it's just
kinda
like
entertaining.
I mean, I love the AC/DC soundtrack for that movie. That's the entire movie.
Honestly, that's what saved the movie was AC/DC doing the soundtrack. But I mean, obviously, the Green Goblin on the front of a diesel truck. I mean, and all of a sudden these machines come to life.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of the Tommy Knockers. It was a long movie, but it was a great one, man. I was like, man.
I like the Silver Bullet because based on the book Cycle of the Werewolf, a short story, and I actually enjoyed that book a lot. I remember reading it as a kid, and the movie was pretty good. Gary Busey, he just was in there. It's just
oh yeah, gotta love Gary Busey. Right?
It's just he made.
I mean, you said it right there, Gary Busey. I mean,
he's always playing made some good movies.
Oh, yeah,
The
he-
Buddy Holly story, we'll give him that.
Yeah.
And Rookie of the Year, you know?
Yeah,
Don't
definitely.
talk about that. Funky Butt Lovin', yeah. Remember that movie? Oh my God. That was actually one of the first movies I seen by myself in a movie theater. You know, and Stephen King, to me, like Carrie, that was another one.
Yeah.
But the big difference was the book versus the movie was two totally different endings.
And that's always the case with King. I mean, it's like, you know, Stephen King definitely writes a much better book than the movie, in my opinion. I would much rather read the book because, okay, look at Green Mile. Even though, again, it's suspense, not horror. When I actually got the book Green Mile to see it in the theaters, there was so much stuff that was elaborated on that made more sense. So to me, it's like you miss out a lot if you watch the movie and not read the book. You miss out on a lot of stuff that otherwise, you know.
So I got this shirt on here, you know, good old clowns. Some people are scared of them, some people are not. How do you feel about clowns in horror movies?
I think they're a good mix. I like clowns personally, but of course, what can I say? I worked as a carny, worked in the wrestling business. You know, listen to ICP when they were popular.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you know, but funny story. The Dave & Buster's up in Virginia when we're doing our meet and greets. We actually have a wrestler out there. Hey, Gary, I love you, brother. Livid the Clown, one of my very own wrestlers. I portrayed a clown gimmick. Of course, you know, you and me, of course, and even you, we were all fortunate enough to know Road Warrior Animal.
Yeah.
So it was during that time that we had Animal show up at Dave & Buster's with Coco Beware and Demolition Axe. Livid came in with a Road Warrior's clown mask on. And I had this kid that worked for me. You know, he was this big tough guy from the Midwest, you know, nothing scared him. Until Livid goes up there, throws his arm around, hey brother, want a picture? And this dude jumped about 40 feet through the ceiling just about. He's like, oh my God, get that clown away from me. I was like, what? It's just a clown. I hate clowns, I'm afraid of clowns. He would go like hide from Livid the Clown. And then Livid's looking at me, I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, I like your gimmick. He was like, I just hate clowns. I'm like, so I wait for him, what, expect he'd be sitting there eating nachos or something like, hey, go over there and like make bunny ears behind his head or something. It was great, but it worked.
What about you with clowns? What do you think?
Clowns don't bother me. Believe it or not, my grandmother was actually a clown. So I learned how to do balloon animals and magic tricks. So clowns never bothered me that badly.
Yeah, I never could see it. You know, it's like I liked clowns too much.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny. I mean, you look through like that history. You look at Killer Clowns from Outer Space, you know, and then you go look at like House of a Thousand Corpses, Captain Spaulding. You know, and of course you got It in there. I mean,
Right.
I always wondered what made people. Now the second It, the CG version, I can see why it might have scared people, but that first one did not even phase.
I'm just like, okay, so it's a clown.
Yeah. Did you have any like fear as far as like, you know, something individually in a movie where you go, oh my God, that freaks me out?
I think it's more, you know, when you have horror movies that focus more on the unknown, where you know there's something there and you know you're being watched, that's the thing that truly evokes fear with me. I guess you say at least when I was younger. I mean, I got used to it after serving in war and stuff like that. But growing up, actually being afraid of that something in the dark. Like when I was a kid, I could not sleep in the dark.
Yeah.
Wasn't until I actually started like going actually camping and doing stuff. And of course, even sometimes going camping with my friends. You know, up until I was about, I don't know, 13 or so. You know, I just always hated that fear of the unknown, that thing in the dark. If I had to say, as far as horror, where that was concerned with me, is not knowing what's there.
Yeah, I know.
Well, like Jaws.
Jaws.
You don't see Jaws until, in the first movie, you don't see him until maybe the last 30 minutes of the movie. And as a person who used to do scuba diving, that can be scary. I used to do a lot of night dives. And nothing is scarier when you're sitting on top of the water in the middle of night underneath you is this inky blackness. You don't know what's underneath you. You can't see nothing. And I've seen some stuff down I've run into the hammerheads down there. They'll be off a distance, but that's kind of scary when you're underwater. It's black, pitch black down there. You turn the lights off and you don't know what's around you, what's there. That's when all the hunters come out, the predators, and so I guess that's what preys on people's fears. Is like you said, the unknown. Because to me, that's kind of one of the scarier things for me
And you know,
too.
deep down there's something there, but you don't know what.
You don't know what it is, where it is. You can't see it. It can see you, but
Right.
I guess that's the primal fear everybody has of the unknown, of darkness.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. There's a lot of fear factors in there. One of the most scariest scenes I ever seen, and this is probably one of my favorite movies, Dr. Giggles. It was a beef.
Oh yeah.
He was inside his mother. His father took all his guts and sewed him inside his mother. And he's in the morgue. And he's got his scalpel. And he's like 8 years old. He cuts himself out, like through the sutures, and pulls himself out in front of this guard. The guard was young, and of course you see him now, he's all grayed haired when it goes on the flashback because it scared the life out of him. It was just one of the freakiest things I ever seen.
I do remember that actually, Dr. Giggles.
Yeah.
If you hadn't seen Dr. Giggles, that's a must see. Gotta see Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. There's a lot of them out there. Slumber Party Massacre. You guys ever seen these?
Not familiar with that one.
I've seen movies like that.
Yeah. And that was a lot of the 80s genre. It was like, like I said, you gotta have nudity up there. You gotta have some violence and gore. And Slumber Party Massacre 2 was like another wild one. That one just had, it was the driller, the guy with a drill guitar, man. And I was watching this, and they actually broke the guitar during the middle of the thing, and the guy was so devastated. I think it was Bruce Springsteen's son, I believe?
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I forget who played it. No, it was the mayor up there in Detroit, his son.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, because Springsteen had his daughter, and she played in Sleepaway Camp.
Right, that's
Yeah.
it, yep.
That I'm telling you, man,
Yeah.
that was a real freaky just movie there. So here you go. What's the number one thing you don't do in a horror film?
Split up.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not go hide in the most obvious place where the killer will find you.
Or when you knock the guy down, just walk away. Like I've seen so many movies, like for example in Halloween, they knocked in the first movie, they knocked him down, hit him with a bat and everything. Why don't you just keep wailing on him?
Yeah,
He's down. I mean,
you should have monkey stomped his ass.
and just keep going to town, and you would have been just fine. But no, you let him get back up, recover. I see a lot of horror movies like that. It's like just finish it.
Yeah, finish him.
Yeah. I mean, it's always the classic, I'll be back,
Yeah.
That one there always cracks me up. And you ever notice, like, when it comes to the heroes, is usually 90% of the time it is usually a female, right? That is generally smaller chested. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. What's that about?
I mean, usually if you're like, the ditzy blonde, they're always dead within like 20 minutes. I've never understood why, but you never see the hero be a ditzy blonde.
Oh, it's a nerdy, good
Girl, yeah, has the brains, for the most part.
Yeah, the nerds are usually heroes in those movies.
Yeah.
Whether that's the guy or the girl.
Yeah, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 over there.
Yeah.
Mark Patton, man, the male scream queen. I mean, it's funny, a lot of people hated that movie. I thought it was good. I for what it was, I was like, yeah, this is pretty entertaining. It was funny as hell.
I mean, I thought the franchise was over at that point, but they impressed me with part 3.
Yeah, part 3 is generally the favorite, 3 and 4, 4 being the highest grossing one.
Definitely.
But, so, what would you guys do if you were stuck in one of these horror movies? If you were stuck, like let's say you were in Friday the 13th, what would you do to either get away or take out the killer?
If I realized everyone was just dying, I'd probably just get the hell out of Dodge.
You get
to be
out?
honest with you. I played the Friday the 13th game.
Yes.
And I'm kind of terrible. I'm kind of one of those guys that screw the other players over. I'll take all the stuff they need and let the gas can. And there's one board that has a boat I fill the boat up, I drive off, knowing that everyone else is screwed, unless they can call the police or whatever. So I'm just driving away, let's get away that way. But I would just leave.
It's hilarious because I would, when I was playing the game, I would hide in the cabins, right? And I would lock the door and make sure it was bolted down. And I would have the baseball bat just waiting for him to break through so I could escape again, until time ran out. I was like, screw this, I'm not fighting Jason.
I would set some sort of trap that would ensnare him and then get away. Knowing that he can't follow me,
Yeah. So, out of all the heroes, that ended up surviving, who would you say was probably the best one? If you put them all in a battle royal, who would come out probably on top, the best one?
Heroes, like say,
The ones who survived the killer. There's a lot of choices for this.
Tommy Jarvis.
Tommy Jarvis?
Yeah, definitely Tommy Jarvis. I was going to say Tommy Jarvis.
He made it the longest with Jason.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he did, 3 series there?
Yeah, from childhood to adult, so he could survive.
Yeah. I mean, Heather Langenkamp, she survived 3 movies.
Yeah.
She died in 1 and then came back.
Yeah, Nancy, yeah.
Nancy. There's a lot of,
Lori from Halloween.
Laurie, Laurie
She
Strode.
made it all with old age,
Still kicking, still
still
going.
kicking, so.
Even had her granddaughter helping out, 40th anniversary.
All right. Well, that's about it for the Dr. Quack podcast here to Spooktacular.
Oh, now wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh, wait, there is more. We forgot something very key and important. What are we working on right now?
What are we working on there?
What are we working on right now?
What are we working on?
What are we working on? The Dr. Quack Chronicles.
Yes. We're working on this movie.
We're working on that. Now, you want to shed a little light, or you want me to throw in a little something for you?
You go ahead. You go ahead and take this one.
Now, this is what people have asked me in the past. It's like, okay, so you're making a horror movie. What you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna give you the most believable horror villain of all time. I mean, realistically, as it stands right now, how we're talking about things were a little scary in the 80s, vice now. Do we really believe a decomposing guy with a hockey mask and a machete is gonna jump out and try to kill us right now? I'd probably laugh. Or, some guy with that pepperoni flatbread that wears that on his hand and comes through and is like, ha ha, I'm gonna kill you in your sleep.
I'm like, oh, that's the gardener.
Yeah, man. That would be a good job for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I mean, because him and Edward Scissorhands are like cousins and but with Dr. Quack, we're gonna make him so believable that you can believe he can walk through that door at any moment and kill you in any kind of way he can think of. Because he doesn't just kill you one way, he kills you multiple ways. Not to mention, there's a few other little surprises that Dr. Quack has in his arsenal. A few other people that you would never expect are going to come out of the woodwork here. Needless to say, I think, if I may, I think we're going to open some eyes and turn some heads. Anything you want to add?
Yeah. I mean, all I can tell you is, everyone's had a bad day. Everyone's had a bad day in life. Well, Dr. Quack is no different because, he's the good doctor. And he slowly has gone down the trail of deceit, murder, and trauma. So I'm going to tell you, you get ready. This is going to be an interesting film to check out. Because remember, there are no good guys.
That's it right there. No good guys. So no heroes. So this will certainly be a first in horror history. There's actually no heroes.
Yep.
Even the sheriffs and his deputy are corrupt.
Yeah, everybody's there, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no good guys.
Yep. Well, all right. I think that's going to wrap it up here for us. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. If you can, like, share, subscribe to this channel. We are definitely looking for more viewers. Want to get this out there.
Hi.
So I appreciate it, and I'm out.